Howdy there, and welcome to Sports by Compian. My name, of course, is Stephen Compian, joined here by the most powerful co-host a guy could possibly ask for, Mr. Dan Gildashades himself. How you doing over there, Dan?
I had a good weekend except for a couple hours on Saturday night, but all in all, we're all good.
Feel you there, man. I had a great weekend too. A little bit of snowboarding, and then my weekend kind of went to shit on Sunday. But we'll hop into why, because we're going to go ahead and cover the division round of the playoffs. We are down to the last four teams. Unfortunately, neither of us survived, but of course, you people probably know that. Either way, hop into that. Make sure you like and subscribe our content so that we can continue to produce these videos. Not that we'll stop. I mean, we're just going to fucking do it anyway, whether you guys like or subscribe or not. But we would appreciate it if you did.
See, I just really wanted Sports by Copy to be live in Tampa next week.
Yeah, it didn't fucking happen, Dan. It did not happen. Not that I was gonna go ahead and pay for a playoff ticket. Your boy ain't exactly set like that right now.
We can just hang out outside and party with the fans.
That's true. That could have been fun. But anyway, Dan, that's not the case. Instead, we will be sitting at home as well as the Buccaneers and Packers. But before we get to that, the Texans traveled to Baltimore. This was a close game at halftime, Dan. Me and Mike Buswinger, friend of the show, were coming back from snowboarding. It was 10-10 at halftime, and that's about all she wrote. Because then after that, the Ravens defense was like, yeah, no, we're not going to allow anything. Although, to be fair, the only touchdown from the Texans was apparently a kick return. So the Ravens defense just did the Ravens defense stuff, man. They are absolutely obliterating teams right now. C.J. Stroud could not get comfortable. Couldn't quite get it going. Lamar Jackson does his thing, rushes for over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing on the day. They're looking good right now, Dan. They're looking like a buzzsaw. In my opinion, probably Super Bowl favorites. They absolutely dismantled the Texans, and actually the only blowout of the weekend, which was nice, I guess.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, and like you said, for half of this game, it was an extremely competitive game, being 10-10 at half. So all in all, I mean, I wouldn't say it was an utter blowout the entire game. It was very enjoyable to watch.
Sure.
But yeah. They got pressure up on C.J. Stroud. He didn't, he just couldn't get time to set and do what he needed to do. A lot of drops by his receivers, albeit some of them weren't the best throws with him on the run. But the Ravens secondary with phenomenal coverage on their guys, that even if they were coming down with something, they're getting 1-2 yards after the catch, if that. But, they shut it down. Singletary only had 22 yards rushing.
Couldn't get it going on the ground. Absolutely not. I think he had like 1 rush for like maybe 10 yards. Other than that, just getting obliterated.
Yeah, collectively as a team, they had 38 yards rushing. So if you make a team that one-dimensional, that's a good thing for your defense. They actually threw. I think they actually threw for more yards than the Ravens did in that game by 50 yards. But yeah, when you turn a team one-dimensional, you start to see what's coming, and they knew how to handle it from there.
Yeah, I think we said it before on this pod, or at least I have. This might be one of the best defenses we've seen in a very long time. They're scary. They're dominating teams right now. We'll see what happens, man. They're hosting the Chiefs coming up. We'll cover that in sport and the pick of them to come this week as well. But yeah, it's just looking like the Ravens are running away with this whole thing right now, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we'll get into it on pick'ems, but we saw a little more life out of Kansas City. It wasn't a field goal fest from them, but I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that pressure that they're going to bring on the front line.
Moving on to another game, which was disappointing for Mr. Buswinger, who was watching the game there at home with me, and the Packers come up a little bit short in this game. But then, if you were watching this, got to be so disappointed as a Packers fan. We'll let you hop into a whole long discussion here in a minute. But for me watching it, the Packers looked like the better team. I mean, Savage drops an easy interception early in the game that could have been a pick six. Not to mention Nixon dropping a pick. Of course, Anders misses a 40-some yarder. They look like they should have won this. Overall, I'd say Love was okay. A couple picks, but I don't think that tells the full story. He did have under 200 yards, if I'm not mistaken. So not his best game ever. They probably should have leaned on Aaron Jones a little bit more, who was able to get the run game going despite a very good 49ers defense. That last run he had should have been enough, man, but they eventually fell short on it. But yeah, Aaron Jones had another amazing game for the Packers. I think I made 6 in a row that he was over 100 yards rushing. And yeah, I just felt like they did have this in the bag and just couldn't quite complete. Purdy did not look great throughout most of this game. He did have a great final drive, to go ahead and get them into the winning touchdown. The Deebo Samuel's out early in this game, and it showed on that 49ers offense. I think they seem to be completely reliant on of course, Christian McCaffrey. That said, Kettle did have a very nice long touchdown as well. But overall, the 49ers, I felt like, looked vulnerable in this game. The Packers absolutely had plenty of opportunities to win this game. It all comes down to a long across-the-body throw from Love, who, if he throws a couple more, if he puts another 5 yards on that, he probably does find Watson in the corner there and gets a first down. But tough times for Packers fans.
Yeah, he was 6 yards under 200. So, still not all in all a bad day. Late interceptions in the game, definitely. I don't think properly shows how he played. And I don't think it was a, under pressure, lack of experience thing. Like, San Francisco defense was gluing themselves to the receivers. But, going back to early in the game when they went for it on 4th down, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of when they do this. Because, I feel like statistically they're just not a great on 4th down team. The last couple of years under LaFleur, I'm not saying he's just bad play caller when it comes to 4th down, but there's just something that doesn't work too well about it.
I didn't mind them going for it, but I hated the QB sneak in that situation. What were you thinking?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just we don't pick the right plays when we do it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why you don't do a pitch to Aaron Jones on the edge. Like he's going to beat them to the edge 9 times out of 10.
He was hot.
But that being said, I also don't know why they didn't challenge it because I thought he got enough. And I was watching with a bunch of people that were Ravens, Eagles, every other fan. I was the only Green Bay fan in the room. And they were all even like, oh, they probably should have challenged that. But, to me, points on the board. I think in that situation, like I had said on Pickham's last week, we got to take every opportunity to get the points when we get them. And to me, it just and I get that he ended up missing a field goal later, but at that point, I'm like, just take the points. We would have been up 6-0 at the time. I believe that was before the 49ers' first touchdown.
I think so.
But either way, we would have headed into halftime 9-7. And then, he misses the field goal. So, Taylor called me on the way home. And the first words out of my mouth were 6 fucking points were left on the board. And that's the game right there. Those 6 points were the big difference, among a couple other things. But, yeah.
They had their chances. They had so many chances to win this game.
Yeah, like you said, the 2 Drew Trot picks, Purdy should have had 2 picks in this game. Because I would have imagined hopefully we got at least 3 points off of each. And I'm not even going to play hypothetical math on those to try to rule those in because they didn't happen. But even then, just killing the clock on them for what they're able to do. And then, we got into a little bit of weird play selection. Aaron Jones had that giant run. And I was hoping that we were going to eat more of the clock than we did, even if we had to settle for that field goal that he missed. I felt like we didn't take a ton of time off the clock. And we ended up passing, which, incompletion stopped the clock. It's what launched the Patriots comeback in that Super Bowl because the Falcons just loved passing the ball instead of killing the clock. And the defense played very, very well, all in all. Held Christian McCaffrey to under 100 yards rushing, albeit by 2 yards. I'll take it. It's under 100. But it was kind of like what happened in that fourth quarter when we went from pretty much stopping them all game to we couldn't stop a damn thing. We started playing very soft. I think they were too worried about letting them get to the boundary that they were just leaving too big of pockets up the middle, and they're getting chunk plays, which moved them down the field so easily.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen them play up like they had been all game. I get that you risk them getting to the boundary, but all in all, they were shutting them down pretty well for the most part. So, I think we could have taken that risk. I agree. Debo getting out early played a huge factor. I know Christian McCaffrey was having problems with what appeared to be his hamstring as well. So, I said on Pick'ems last week, if we got pressure on Purdy, things might get interesting, and they did. So I'm, not to jump into Pick'ems this week, but interested to see what that Lion loves to run. He could be in another similar situation, but all in all, it's a game we should have won with how we played. But at the same breath, much like you, everybody thought we were going to get 5 wins. We were supposed to be at the bottom of the NFC North. This was supposed to be our rebuilding year. So, I think there's a lot of promise in the team. There's a lot of guys going to, potentially being free agents. So we'll see who we can re-sign. But as frustrated as I am about how the game was, I feel good that it's not like our team is about to implode like everybody had made it out to be just because 12 walked out the door. So
absolutely. Youngest team in the NFL, as Taylor has told me many times.
Yeah, and I think you had the same sentiment of like everybody's like, oh, Tom Brady retired. Tampa's about to go back, to what they were. And everybody's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers left. We're about to be up, USA Today. Fuck you guys.
Fuck you guys.
You're like 5 wins in last place. So
they don't know ball.
I think they had
probably where Cedric reads his information.
No, I think Cedric writes their information.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. He's a writer over there?
He's a writer over there.
The amount of shit we get Cedric on this pod is pretty funny.
Clearly he doesn't listen enough.
Exactly.
But yeah, all in all, I think being a couple days removed in perspective, I'm very excited for what the team did, what the team's going to do. We have a very young group of wide receivers still under contract that grew exponentially over the course of the season. So I can't wait to see what comes out of this next season.
Fully agree. I think the Packers are in good hands, which too much to the dismay of the NFC North, who are probably not happy to see you guys not even have one rebuilding year and quite right back to the table again.
The amount of Bears videos, fans videos I've watched of them just utterly losing their shit for they're like a third goddamn quarterback in a row. They were like, I don't know what to tell you. Well, it's funny, Andrew's over here like, I need whatever's in the water in Green Bay to show up in Philly because he goes, you guys just keep turning out quarterbacks over the last 30 years.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It works.
It's a deal with the devil, but it seems to be working out well with the Packers right now. Like you said, big hopes for them. The 49ers, I'm not sure if Deebo Samuel will be back. We'll get into all that and pick them. But I think they definitely showed some vulnerability. That said, that linebacker core, that middle linebacker core of Fred Warner and Greenlaw, it's got to be the best linebacker core in the league. Like, it's just insane how good those two are. Fred Warner was flying around the field all day. That game was so chippy, too, which you love to see in a playoff game. They were fighting almost after every play. It was cool.
It's these two teams, they have history.
They do.
So, I think...
Unfortunately, the Packers have been on the wrong side of that history.
Lately. Not always, but lately.
I mean, dating back to what's this called, Kaepernick. So it's been a minute.
They were 0-4 with Rodgers against the 49ers, and now 0-1 under Love. But under Brett Favre, they were 4-1.
Okay, so yeah, getting back to the 90s when we were busy getting born.
Yeah. Right now, last time to mention Debo, but last time I checked, I think he's still listed as questionable. So I feel like it's a playoff thing to say questionable because they're going to run you down to game time decision at this point,
100%.
Because it's playoffs. That being said, there was another thing I was going to say, and now I kind of forgot because we got sidetracked on that.
We can come back to it. What do you have to say about this Bucks Lions game before I go on my rant here?
Yeah, I did catch a good portion of it. I was still, I'll admit, in my salty mood
Of course.
on Sunday where I didn't want to be reminded, especially during that game, about the winner of this plays San Francisco. I didn't want to hear that all day.
Sure. And no one
but
wants to hear Chris Collinsworth about to go on a rant on that fucking loser. But yeah.
that too. But here's my thing. Much like the Green Bay San Francisco game, like this was very competitive through the entire game. It was a shootout. You know, it was like you score, they score, like back and forth, you know, all the way down to the very end. And then, you know, Gibbs got a hell of a block and a hell of a hole on that 31-yard touchdown
broke
run.
Antoine Winfield's ankles on that play. Like a stud of the team. You just hate to see it, man. He took a bad angle, and man, he got beat bad on that one.
Yeah, and then you know, he had another good run on the drive that set up the 9-yard touchdown by Brown or St. Brown. So you know, really, it was you guys down to the last minutes or last quarter. You guys played really great ball. I think, you know, we've been on this agenda for the last handful of weeks. Baker's earned himself an extension. I don't see how he doesn't. You know, and you guys had a great drive to pull back with an 8. I am still perplexed about why there was no timeout called when there was 35 seconds left.
Everyone's going on about this. Who cares, man? The game was over at that point. We're not going to do shit with like 10 seconds back on the clock. I'm fine with not calling the timeout.
I think you would have more than 10 seconds, but it's just more the idea because Baker has the arm and you get Mike Evans down the field. That's all I'm going to say without getting too much into it. But, you know, again, you were another team that USA Today, fuck them, said was going to get 4 wins, I think, or 5, finishing last. Everybody's like, oh, well, Tom Brady is gone, so they're not going to be competitive, even though your entire defense was returning, which was a very stout defense. You know, and what I say is offenses get you to the playoffs, defenses win it. And even then, a phenomenal defense will get you to the playoffs too, i.e. look at the Ravens. Not saying the Ravens offense is bad, but when your defense gives up like what, 10, 15 points a game, that's not much work for the offense to do.
Exactly. I would be curious what that Ravens defense has given up over the last 7 games. It's probably like something like 30 points. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah, I'll have to do that night for pick'ems. I'll pull up what their points per game is in the regular season.
Sounds good.
But yeah, so you know, you guys had a lot of pieces to be competitive. Again, not slandering your division, but we said, you know, the Saints didn't make a lot of moves in the offseason to make us worry about them, but it's the Saints, you never know. You know, Carolina was a hot mess. And then, you know, we didn't, you know what to expect out of the Falcons. So, you know, I felt you guys were in prime spot to make a run at something. So, you know, I don't think there's much to be disappointed about in the grand scheme of things once you have a couple days to look at it. But you and I were in the same spot of there's like first 48, 72 hours.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to stew about it. My coworker and I that are Packers fans, literally, we have not acknowledged anything about the game over the weekend. We didn't text each other about it. We just walked in and acted like the game never happened.
It's tough times. Yeah, so hopping into this, I'm going to start off with Chris Collinsworth. That guy's a fucking clown. Get him off the air. I don't want to fucking hear him anymore.
You don't
The dude was so biased throughout the entire game, was just all over the fucking Lions knob, to the point, Dan, where I've been with the Lions. You know this, like throughout the year. I've been happy to see this Dan Campbell turnaround. Dude, I was sick of the Lions by the end of that game. It was just, he turned me against them to an extent. Mike, whoever the hell his play-by-play guy, certainly didn't help either. Both of them are fucking pathetic. Get off the air. Get NBC to just shut down their whole operation. They fucking suck. And their fucking pro football focused bullshit. Fuck out of here with all that garbage. You guys fucking blow. Anyway, that aside, hopping into this game, like you said, very competitive throughout. The defense comes out strong, immediate 3 and out. We get the ball back. Offense starts driving, and big play out of we get 7 yards with White. Another huge 15-yard rush from him, and then it all went to shit because apparently we don't block defenders off the edge, Dan. We're just like, oh, edge defender, no problem. That will be okay. And now the first 2 were corner blitzes, so I can understand maybe a little miscommunication here or there. Baker didn't see him. Offensive lineman didn't see him. Fine. But there was a play where they literally let Aiden Hutchinson just run. There was 2 where they let him just run straight at Baker. One of them, he barely manages to get rid of the ball. Second one, he takes a sack. And it's just like all 3 of those sacks were drive killers. And it's just like, what are we doing? We got to block the guys off the edge. You can't just, Dan, you can't just have defenders running into the back line to hit your fucking quarterback. That's not how you win games. That's not how you do it, Dan. You need your quarterback to stay upright so you can score points. Fucking insanity. I have no idea how they couldn't make that adjustment, dude. It happened 3 times. What are we doing? Oh, that first pass by Mike Evans, man. Gotta make these catches, Mike. He struggled early in this game. Ball's just bouncing off his hands, and especially that early pick. And it had to be Gardner who got that pick. The fucking guy who talked shit about us all week.
We saw that in the Eagles game. That he had a couple of drops as well.
But I did predict he was going to have a big game, and he did. He was actually the only receiver over the whole weekend with over 100 yards receiving. Came through huge with us. I think he had 2 touchdowns, maybe 1. Either way, came in big with that last touchdown to bring it within closing distance again. Probably should have got a penalty on the 2-point conversion, because otherwise, Dan, if he at least gets that 2-point conversion, or if Money McLaughlin doesn't make his first miss of the year, Dan. So he's had 2 other misses. Those were misses. They got blocked. So this was Money McLaughlin, as I refer to him, his first miss of the whole year. He waited till the playoffs to do this. Wouldn't that matter too much in the grand scheme of things, other than the spread? Because if we would have hit that, I would have hit literally all my bets. Still did okay. But man, McLaughlin, bad time to pick to make your first drop of the year, miss of the year. I definitely feel like it should have been a pass interference on the 2-point conversion to Mike Evans. But I guess they did make a decent point that Mike didn't try to run through the defender. He just kept backpedaling.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if he had played up to the ball instead of...
Sure, but it was still all over him. That was a little ridiculous. The guy was literally tackling him as the ball's in the air. That's pass interference.
Yeah, I think he was expecting it to go further to the back corner, and that's why I kept playing back.
Baker needs to put it up a little bit further for him, for sure.
Yeah.
But, shocker, Chris Collinsworth, I'm okay with the no call. Shocker, Chris. Fucking shocker. Get off the fucking air, you clown. Anyway, the offense, like you said, held us in this game. Baker did respond to the bell when he needed to. We could not. But, dude, the reason this loss hurt so bad was because the strength of our team is our defense, as you mentioned. They've kept us in games. They are the reason we beat Carolina, held them to a shutout. They've been good all year long. And, man, they folded like a table in that second half. Oh, my God, they couldn't stop a fucking breeze. It was out of control, dude. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Winfield, our absolute stud of the year, nowhere to be found in this game. Did absolutely nothing. Ended up with like 2 tackles. And, man, you got fucking beat bad by Gibbs on that long touchdown. That drive in general, the one that they had to go up to 24, the defense just didn't show up. That was like 4 or 5 plays. They just marched down the field, easy touchdown. It's just pathetic, man. That was rough to see. Rough to see our defense fall apart like that. But I blame it on the front 4. They had no pressure all game. Now, they did have a couple sacks, a couple pressures here and there. It came from Kalijah Kancey and from Vita Vea. The edge rushers were nowhere to be found. Shaq Barrett with a late sack late in the game, but it was because Goff had all day. And that led to one of the most painful. It was on the drive where they scored that, St. Brown touchdown. Dude, 3rd and 15. in a big playoff game. You gotta stop them, guys. You got to. I mean, I'm not a negative guy, and man, the subreddit on Reddit for the Buccaneers, I do like that. It's fun to be on there. But man, those people are so pessimistic, dude. There was people already just talking piles of shit. Fire Baker, fire Tom Bowles after the first pick. It was like, guys, we're 2 minutes into this game. Fucking deep breaths. But yeah, after that 3rd and 15 conversion to St. Brown, which, you know, McCollum's got to play better than that. That was terrible soft coverage on his part. It's his second year, and it is St. Brown, so I'm not going to put this too much on him. But, oh, my God, guys. I put that more on the front four. At one point, you had Shaq Barrett running into the back of his 2 defenders. 3 of them were just caught up all together doing absolutely nothing and gave Goff all the time in the world to find St. Brown with that pass. So, like I said, I put this on the edge rushers, I should probably say, not the whole front four, because Vita Vea did play a decent game, although they did get gashed by some runs towards the end of the game there when they all decided to fold together. But overall, we could not get any pressure on Goff throughout the day, and he made us pay for it, man. I hope Goff goes ahead and does some good shit with his year, because he decides to throw no interceptions his last 2 games. Don't fuck it up now, Goff, all right? Go beat the 49ers. Shout out my brother-in-law, Jeff Dunn, big Lions fan, long-suffering Lions fan. He did text me after the game. Sorry, bud. But, I like you said, give this a couple more days to simmer. I'll be happy for him. I'll hop on the Lions bandwagon. But goddamn, this one hurt. It maybe everyone in the nation was calling for it. So that's kind of why I wanted to see the shocker. I was sick of hearing Chris Collinsworth, too. Would have been great to shut that loser up. But overall, man, like you said, everyone counted us out this year. Everything we did was a bonus after 6 wins. So it was a huge year. We are in pretty good shape next year with some good cap room, but we got to resign a bunch of our free agents. Carolina's already coming after Dave Canales, which is crazy to me. You guys had 1 year as offensive coordinator, and they're already trying to poach him away as coach. It's a bummer because it would really suck to have to get another offensive coordinator in there and go through all this process again. He was really coming into his groove towards the end of the year there, so it will hurt if we lose him. I really don't want that to happen. Plus, he's crazy if he goes and takes that Carolina job. Like, what do you think is going to happen, Canales? They're going to fire you halfway through the season when you can't resurrect this shit team with no offensive weapons. Like, good luck, bro. David Tepper is going to fire you in a hot minute. Don't do it, Dave. Dave, if you're out there listening by any chance, don't do it, man. You're crazy if you take that job. Stay one more year with the Bucs. Let's win a Super Bowl.
You got to back it up a second. It's not that he doesn't have any offensive weapons. He has no draft picks.
No draft picks. He has Adam Thielen as the offensive weapons, which, shout out Adam Thielen. Decent year from you, bro. But, man, what
who else? Who else?
Tommy Tremble. He's decent tight end. But, yeah, I don't know what we're doing there.
You know what we should do? We should go try out for the Panthers next year because, I mean, we can't be any worse than what they got.
Oh, yeah, that's what they want, a washed-up 31-year-old past defensive end and a 27-year-old who doesn't go to the gym. That's absolutely what they're looking for.
29. Thank you very much.
Love you, buddy. But, yeah, no, I don't think we're going to make that roster as bad as they are. Point is, don't do it, Dave. Please don't do it. Come back to the boys. We need you. The Lions, though, solid game out of them, Dan.
It's a good story.
They tore us apart. Give me a couple days. I'll be happy for them. Still a Dan Campbell guy. He had nothing but respect for us throughout the whole game. In the press conference, he was like, "I'm exhausted. I didn't even play." I appreciate that guy. He coaches the right way. He talks to the media the right way. Definitely pulling for the Lions here down the stretch. All right. Hopping into this game, huh? The old fucking Chiefs and Bills. This was kind of similar to you, as you described earlier. I didn't catch much of this game because, frankly, I was just done with the NFL at that point in the day. So I kind of had it on a side screen as it was going on. I didn't catch most of it, but I heard Diggs just absolutely got shut down and didn't do much of anything again, which is huge. That third down in the red zone of the Chiefs, he probably should have hit Diggs. pick up the first down, live to fight another day. Instead, he goes for the deep shot, which he would have hit. The dude was wide open, but he doesn't account for a little bit of pressure coming from Chris Jones, and it leads to them having to settle for a field goal. Tyler Bass has been solid all year, but huge miss. Bills Mafia suffer yet another loss to the Kermit fraud himself, Mr. Patrick Mahomes.
Did you hear that Tyler Bass has deactivated all his social media because of the amount of death threats he's been getting?
Understandable, poor bastard. And that's ridiculous, fans. If you're literally out here texting somebody a death threat, just go climb a tree somewhere and think about your life and where you are. That you're texting a kicker that you're gonna go kill this guy.
First of all, let's back this up because I've hated this logic to put it on one guy. You can't.
Crazy.
Because Josh Allen, the defense, Stephon Diggs, you can point the finger at so many other people of if they got the first down there, didn't drop that pass there, they never would have been in a situation to be like, hey Bass, go save our ass. And
that would have just tied it up. There's no
telling what happened. Yeah. And
there's still a decent amount of time left on the clock, and you still got Patrick Mahomes over there.
So yeah, I hate this idea. Fucking keyboard warriors, man.
It's just ridiculous, dude. Go get a hobby, guys, for real.
Well, that and none of us on this planet can ever say that they had a bad day at work.
For real,
nobody has been 100% perfect at work. You have a bad day, so imagine if you mess up a report, and then immediately you start getting tweets to you of oh, you fucked up that TPS report. Go fucking kill yourself. Get out of here. It's not going to happen. But the fact that you feel like doing that, you're a clown and a joke, and you need to go reevaluate your life, but enjoy the cheese puffs in your parents' basement. And I hope you can get out of your gamer chair if the sides have not got too tight.
Probably not, though. So yeah, absolutely go fucking kick the rocks. But I did think it was funny they were throwing snowballs at Patrick Mahomes as he was leaving the field.
Dude,
that's amazing stuff. Here for it.
They were throwing him at the bus on the way in too.
Do love to see it, honestly. That kind of stuff is funny. That's acceptable. It's snow. That's not gonna kill them. It's funny.
I don't know, dude. With how cold that was, some of it might have been ice too.
Yeah, fair enough. But it was funny seeing Chris Jones literally flipping those fans off. That dude has no love for the Bills Mafia, apparently. But good game out of him. Good once again, decent game out of this Chiefs defense. They once again show up when they needed to and force that field goal, and it wasn't enough, man. And now we get to see Patrick Mahomes in yet another AFC championship. Yay!
Yeah. Right now the line is Ravens 3.5.
Well, that's fair because the Ravens have been playing out of their minds right now. So I do think they have a solid chance of dethroning these crazy bastards.
Yeah. I think all in all, it was a good job by them to actually get multiple touchdowns in a game, because I know that was a great concern of ours because they had been kicking a lot of field goals to get through their games the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So it's nice, for them, it's nice to see they kind of got that offense humming a little bit.
For sure.
But yeah, defense stepped up when they needed to. Josh Allen did what he could, but when you take someone like Diggs out of the game, that's going to be a tough game. Because when you're relying on your tight end, Kincaid, to be your top receiver of the game, I'm not saying he's bad, but that's, not your ideal top guy to have to hit all the time.
No.
So, Josh Allen, rushes for 70-some yards again. So, running game wasn't helping them either. But, Kansas City, we never knew what we were going to get out of them. We've been very skeptical of them in the last couple of weeks, but they managed to do what they needed to do, and here we are. They're going to the AFC Championship again.
Great.
And we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. That is the divisional round. Stay tuned for our pick'ems coming up this week as well.
So I do have two things. While you were on your Tampa Bay rant, I did do a little bit of math here, and going
that much time.
Yeah. So going to whole numbers, the Ravens regular season point per game would be 15 points. I think
Wow.
with a decimal, it was like 15.3
Jeez.
if you do it to 1 decimal point out. So again, that validates my point of if you give up 15 points a game, that's really good for your offense if they have to basically score 2 touchdowns and maybe make a field goal. Or you can do field goal fest. Anyway, yeah, 15 points a game is phenomenal to deal with. There, 10 points they only gave up last game. So that looks good there. And then it's been 66 years since the Detroit Lions have won a road playoff game. Now, it gets better, okay? So that was in the 1957 NFL Championship game where they played the 49ers in San Francisco.
Oh,
And that was the last time they were NFL champions. So 66 years later, is history going to repeat itself?
Let's hope so.
I hope
Like
so.
I said, we're going to rally here. We're going to support the Lions in a hot minute.
I mean, that one dude has had season tickets for like 66 years.
Yeah. So he remembers when they won that.
I think he was at the game, they said.
Probably.
I respect it.
I would have liked nothing better than to break that old man's heart, not going to lie.
It might have killed him.
Dude, he's old enough. He's had a good run.
Yeah, look, if you guys beat him, we might have got a diss track by Eminem. That's all I'm going to say.
That also would be sweet. Nothing like a diss. That would have been pretty cool. Tampa Bay diss track from Eminem. I'd be here for it.
Look, we need certain things in our life, and we didn't get it.
That's absolutely true. And before you find folks think that Dan doesn't, deserve to be a hell of an athlete, I do feel bad about that comment earlier. Dan will outlift all you motherfuckers in the gym because when he does go, the dude lifts a fucking shitload of weight, more than I do for sure. And so don't mess with him in the streets if you see Dan Gill because he will fucking put you in your place, and it'll be very embarrassing for you. Yeah, absolute stud when he does go to the gym. I'm just trying to encourage the lad to get out there. You understand. A little bit of hard love out here.
You gotta poke the bear to get him to do things sometimes.
Sometimes, man, that's what we do out here at Sports by Compian. We poke bears. We get eliminated in divisional rounds. But it was a good run. Good year. Can't complain too much. It's pretty cool that both of our teams made it this far despite being completely counted out earlier. And since we've been counted out, we are having a special guest on, hopefully, for this pick'em, somebody who is still in the race. Stay tuned to find out who and all about it. Interesting stuff coming up, Dan. Before we leave, though, do you have any final words for these people at Sports by Compian?
Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole of NFL rumors the other day for next year, and a lot of teams are supposed to be getting new jerseys. I don't know if you've seen this. So I saw a leak of what the potential Seahawks New Jersey is going to be. Yeah. And it's like modern colors for them put on their like throwback jerseys. So they're going to go back to the gray helmet, but it's going to be like the newer blue. I think the pants are kind of staying the same, but the styling is supposed to look like they're like 80s throwbacks, but with darker blue instead of lighter blue, which I'll text the picture to you because if I try to hold it up, it won't show up right. I'm all about that. The Jets throwback jerseys that they wore this year are allegedly also becoming their regular jerseys, so they will make an equivalent green jersey because they only wore whites this year. So that'll be interesting to see because I'm sorry, I was not a big fan of their regular homes. I honestly liked the 2000 era, like Vinny Testaverde, Chad Pennington, another quarterback. Well, actually, I can say it because I didn't care that he went to the Jets. Brett Favre era. So I like those. Those look clean. I don't know why they ever went away from them. The Texans are another team that has been rumored to get new jerseys. We thought they were getting them last year, but one of their higher ups in like marketing or something posted a picture of what looked to be a sweatshirt with it's like a baby blue, kind of not the Oilers blue, but like pretty damn close to it. So I wonder if they're playing into the old Oilers theme. I'd be all about that.
Cool.
So, I'm a sucker for like uniform things. I love reading those things. That being said, that's about all I got. Strap in for the last 2 rounds.
Strap in. We're down to 4.
And then it's time for Six Nations and MLR.
It's all coming, people. We still have plenty of compact sports to talk about. The UFC is still going strong. Bare knuckle boxing is still happening. There's plenty of coverage still coming for Sports by Compian. But in the meantime, people, don't let winter distract you from the fact that you should still be out there lifting. Show up to the gym. I showed up to the gym this morning, Dan. Popped out of my car, and there was like ice. And like, dude, I almost slipped and fell right away. But your boy persevered, got in there, did my thing, as you people should too, because it is an important part of health, even if you're not playing the sport, which you should go play a sport. All right? There's going to be a point in your life where you're not going to be able to play a sport anymore. So if you're still in an age range of anywhere from fucking, 12, 13 to what I am now, 31, let's skip to 33, there's going to be a point where you can't play anymore. So go take advantage of it now. Go play a sport. Stay in the gym. Stay active. Get after it, people. All right? Don't let the fucking winter beat you, because otherwise it will, Dan. It will absolutely beat you. I don't know what's going on here. My screen is all kinds of messed up. Oh, there we go. All right, sweet. Sports by Compian, out.